Fine, you guys win. It's time for another FNAF build. Only this time it's going to be the biggest and the creepiest build I have ever done. And it's your fault. Anyway, weirdly enough, I get a lot of parents who actually message me quite a few times to say, hey, can you make this for my child? Can you make this FNAF costume for my child? And this build in particular, I just want to say, is not child friendly. There still are loads of different costumes you can create for children that just involve cardboard and foam, although this one is not going to be one of them, as it's going to feature a lot of electronics and stilts. So if you are a parent right now and you're watching and you're thinking, oh, it's fine, I'm just telling you now, if we recreate the bite of 87, it is not my fault. Anyway, let's get started.
First, I always start by scaling a reference image of a scaled photo of me. Then after drawing a line pattern, I make sure the key movement areas and any design breaks in the costume to provide waist and knee movement. Once that's all been established, it's time to save and print at 100% scale. POV of me realising how huge this guy's going to be. For now, I'm just cutting out parts I'll be working on first.
So, as you can see, I'm pretty short compared to what I want to build. Now, usually when it comes to my older FNAF costumes that I've created, like Foxy and Chica, I've actually made the stilts myself, using wood. I thought what would be safer is to actually use some pre-built plastering stilts. So, I've never tried these before, but I know that they're really safe-ish. Luckily, they've just arrived. Now that I have these instructions, I'm going to quickly read them and then put these on and try my first walking attempt. Okay, so this is my first try on and I feel pretty safe being stood still, but walking, it's like wearing bricks on my feet and I don't like it. I mean, this is the lowest they can go, so I feel like I'm a little bit high here. But that should be okay. That will just mean that there might be a bit more gaps.
Now I start by using EVA foam.
Using the pieces of paper that I scaled up and printed out, I am able to make this flat pack version of the Endo feet. And then what I'm going to do is just glue them together to make a 3D shape. Now the base of the feet are done, I'm going to use these scraps to make the toes. So you might be wondering, Jem, why didn't you just 3D print these? It would have saved you some time. And well, the answer to your question is, can you do this if you have 3D print? Now, if you're thinking yes, it's either probably because you've spent loads of money or you're from the future. Because both of these feet out of foam cost me probably under £5, including glue. So with that test complete, the next test is now to add it to the stilts and then test movement. For a first-time stilt wearer, I'm pretty good. I felt like I was just about to fall down when I said that.
To pattern the rest of the shapes more efficiently, I 3D printed a small version that I cover with duct tape, add registration marks, and then stick to some paper. I do this so I can scan this and upscale it. There's more on how to make your own version of this later in the video. Using that, I start putting the pieces together. Here you can see me adding a small piece of upholstery foam. If you look closely, you can see I've created a more flattering silhouette, which better suits the reference. Finally, I accurately remove chunks of damage. I repeat all of these steps to the rest of the pieces. Then in some Truester crazy fashion, I kept testing movement.
Now that I've sized up all the pieces, I added a bunch of different attachments using just hot glue and some straps. All that's left before fabric is to add the battle damage. Now that I've added all the battle damage, I'd like to talk about the reference I've been using. As you saw earlier, I created a small version of what I plan to scale up. This technique is actually commonly used within the film and theatre industry, just like they did in the FNAF movies. These days, many people rely on 3D modelling and printing for this process. So if you're familiar with 3D modelling, this probably feels very straightforward. But if you don't know how to 3D model, then that's completely fine. Not everyone uses 3D modelling for this process. In fact, I didn't know how to do it when I first started either. Now, what I used to do, and what the film industry still sometimes does, is actually make it out from clay. With clay, you can mold the designs by hand, and then once it sets, follow the exact same process. Some of you might still be thinking, I don't know how to use clay either. And trust me, I've been there too. Luckily, Skillshare has a great video by Either Crafter on how to use polymer clay. In this video, they even show you how to make fake food, which I've been experimenting for fun while working on this Vanellope statue. Skillshare also offers many other clay classes, so even if you're just looking to create some simple shapes for patterning, you may end up getting carried away like me into using polymer clay for all kinds of things. Skillshare can also enhance skills that are important for costume creation, such as sewing, which is next for this project. It's also great for 3D modelling, painting and crafting. With such a wide range of different classes at different levels, it's perfect for creators like us who just want to sharpen their skills. And if you're the sort of person who wants to create something with a goal in mind, then they have this awesome learning paths, which are a collection of curated classes designed to help you master a specific skill. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creators with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration and more. So if you're interested in boosting your own crafting skills, the first 500 people to use the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial to Skillshare. Get started today and let me know what you are making in my comments below. Now to try it on. Time for the first test. First, I'll just put this on. Okay, this is it all on. That is looking awesome and creepy. You might notice if you're a die-hard FNAF fan that the stilts are actually showing a lot more on my version than the actual version in the game. That is just for my creative freedom because I really want people to believe that there's not a human inside it. So that's kind of what this costume is hopefully going to show. That's why there's a little bit more ankle, as it were, or what you want to call it. But yeah, so this is what it looks like right now. This is me testing it for the first time ever. Obviously I'm waddling a bit, that's just because I'm not used to it and I gotta be careful that I don't like, you know, smack my own foot. But I'm so tall! Once he's got the head on, the head's gonna be like this high. I think I'm gonna be about 9 or 10 foot tall, so yeah, and the arms are gonna be ginormous. Can I move still? That's the question. I can! Look at that. Now that I've tested this and I'm pretty happy, it's time to coat it in fabric. But to do that, I need to spend hours and hours and hours masking taping it all, which is my least favorite thing. So I'm probably just gonna do that off camera, but I'll show you the end result, which will look like this. It's the next day and now they're finally done. I need to now move them over to the sewing machine and start covering this all in fabric. So yeah, this is gonna take just as long. After many hours, it's finally done. Now this is way too clean, obviously, for the Nightmare editions. And if you look really close, I don't know if you can see, but there's like these squiggly lines all over it. I don't actually know what causes a material to do that, but I do know what will do that, and that's fire. I have bought one of these. It is basically a soldering iron, or a burner essentially, that runs on butane gas. Not the safest thing. So if you are a miner and you're watching this, then don't use it. I have never used one of these before, so it's going to be a real test for me to see what it looks like, but I'm going to put on my PPE and then start just carving away at some squiggly lines and then use the blowtorch part to just create some more damage. I don't know. I'm just set it on fire. So guys, sorry if you can't hear me, but I think I realized why this fabric was so expensive. I think This is on full power. I think this is a fire retardant fabric. Yeah. This is not working. Right, what's next? I need to airbrush this. So I'm gonna airbrush it like this. And then add some dirt and random yuck to it. So it will go from this to this. This is what I'm gonna wear underneath the suit. It looks a little bit wrinkly right now, but when you wear it, it stretches and it looks a lot more normal. And I'm gonna sew on these extra wires to make it look like it's all falling apart. Wondering what's the little black things on the end? That's more fabric. I've actually sewn the wires through fabric because I don't know if it's just me, but whenever I glue this silicone to any fabric, one of them disagrees. So I just sew through it and then I glue or sew the fabric onto the fabric. And it's really strong. And then the only other thing is I want to add some fake red liquid to it, which is actually on the reference that I'm using. I'm going to use hot glue to give it that viscosity. I'm going to use hot glue to give it that viscosity that this fake liquid will have. So this is what the plug suit looks like now. You can see it's a lot more form-fitting. But that's exactly what this is, which you will see what it looks like when I come to wear it. Here I've sewn this really nice seam, but because this is a stilt I haven't created, I don't fully understand it, so I assume it's going to need adjustments every now and then. So I'm going to reopen this seam and add the foot and then hand stitch it closed, so if I ever need to open it up again, I just pull the thread out and then sew it up. Nightmare Fredbear really reminds me of a ripped up teddy bear. So as I was looking at all the ripped toys that my dogs had created, I thought I would add some stuffing to just a few areas just to give it that same vision that I have. I know it's not accurate, but I just feel like it will add an extra bit. So that's the last thing to do. Okay, all the pieces are technically finished. I might go back and add some more weathering and distressing to the fabrics, but I really want to finish all the pieces before I really go crazy with that. So it's time to put it on. Is my normal walking speed. I think I'm getting pretty good at this. But I think for the purpose of like acting, I might do a bit of this. But really, I think I'm a natural born stilt walker. That was a perfect time for me to fall over and I nearly did. Thank you so much Skillshare for sponsoring this video and making this project possible. Anyway guys, that is all I have for this month's video. I'm keeping the parts quite short just so I can get them out faster for you guys, but know that there's going to be 2 more videos. The next one's going to be on the hands and how I articulate the hands when they're not in my hands, and I'm going to work on the chest, and there may be some electronics in the chest that don't feature any of the in-game stuff but just makes it a whole lot creepier, but we'll see how I do with time with that. And then the final video will be on the animatronics in the face, and it is a big, big head. So that's what's going to come next, so make sure you do subscribe if you want to see these videos, otherwise you may never see it again. So thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!